that is very much going to lean towards a certain member of the community who has been one of the more vilified people in the world today. And he is back in the USA. Yes, I rhymed, and I did it all by myself. I'm a poet, didn't know it. Thank you very much for joining me at Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting into this right away because I am behind the times, but we're gonna get into it nonetheless because even if you're on tape, even if you're live, this is a show for you, ladies and gentlemen. Especially if you like the one, the only Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate is back out of jail. He has to return to Romania later on in the month, but he's back in the USA because he does have a U.S. passport. If you did not know, Andrew Tate's a U.S. citizen. If you thought that he was British, if you thought that he was Romanian, you are wrong. You are wrong. But the right part is his dad is American. His mother was British. He has dual citizenships. Very, very smart on him. And at the end of the day, he is one who cannot be deported from said countries, even though said countries may or may not want him. So welcome back to Talk Live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Wearing my European black tonight after Arsenal absolutely destroyed PSV Eindhoven out of Holland, in Holland. And 7-1, yes indeed, it was 7,000 yesterday, and I worked out in said gear, and I washed it, and so I'm deciding to wear it tonight. So thank you very much for joining me at Talk Live. Let me just get myself centered here, and we're ready to go. Yes indeed. But yes, let's get into this. We shall spare the introductions. We shall not wait any longer. Let's get into the show. Quite simply. And let's discuss Andrew Tate now. Again, he discusses certain pleasantries about coming back to the States. But first off, in part one of the show, we're going to discuss some of his contemporaries, including the likes of Dave Portnoy, including the likes of Ben Shapiro, and what his opinion is on them and other influences of his ilk, who will never match his stature, quite simply. Andrew Tate is one of the preeminent streamers, preeminent red pill commentators, preeminent men of the day. I insist this man has a genius level intelligence. This is not a dumb man. This is a man who has gone to the boxing, gone to MMA ring, has done Muay Thai and become a champion, and has done the works for wear. And his brain is extra strong, and very, very intelligent man, very erudite individual, and he'll discuss it right here in his views of who Dave Portnoy and Ben Shapiro is. If you don't know who Ben Shapiro is, he's the one who is the one of the executive producers of Daily Wire, one of the bigger traditional conservative podcast platforms out there, quite simply. And this is Andrew Tate's views on both Dave Portnoy, who is indeed the owner, the CEO of Barstool Incorporated, one of the leading sports and political commentating platforms out there. So let's get into this with Andrew Tate. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get into this. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. Let's go.
Oh, you. DeSantis we already covered, so we can skip DeSantis because you were very direct with DeSantis.
My friend Ron.
Right, that's right. Your friend Ron, you're going to be his CMO to help him with his campaign for 2020, which was very kind of you. Dave Portnoy. Here's Dave Portnoy, who is a Trump supporter. He's had Trump on. He actually did a good interview with him. He's got a right-leaning audience. Yep. He says, what's the point of booting out illegals and criminals while somehow becoming a safe haven for the Tate brothers? That's one. Two, Ben Shapiro, okay? You know who he is. You and Ben, good friends. You guys, I'm sure you have had dinner already since you've been here.
Let's do one by one.
Okay, so let's do Dave. Let's do Dave. Go with Dave. What do you say to Dave? Dave's a guy that's done well for himself. What do you say to him?
I've spoken to him once on a podcast, and I said women couldn't drive. And the face of horror he pulled. I don't know if he was because he was afraid of his audience, and he was like, "Look, I love women drivers."
Is this the one about the IQ stuff that you guys talked about?
We did a podcast
that.
once. I said women couldn't drive, and he pulled this fake face of horror because I guess he's afraid of being canceled.
Right.
It was on a Zoom. It was a girl on it. Another guy.
It says everything you need to know about Dave. I don't know much about Dave. I don't know. I see videos of him jumping up and down about sports teams, and he's 47 with no children and smokes weed. That's what I know. He dislikes me. A lot of these conservatives who dislike me for the key reason that I am the hero they want to be. They know I'm the hero of the masculine youth, and they want to be the hero of the masculine youth. Like, why doesn't all the young boys look up to me? All the young men look up to Andrew. They should look up to me. I'm a conservative. I'm a tough guy. No, you're not. I don't know enough about Dave to truly say why he has the point of view he has. I would put it down to jealousy because I'm big, tall, brown, sexy.
Patek. That's what it is.
Patek.
Yeah, with
it's a Patek thing.
Don't forget the diamonds.
It's a Patek thing, but I've got diamonds on mine.
Listen, I think Dave can afford the
Just to let you know, fair use, fair use, fair use. This is coming from Valuetainment. Do give a shout out to Valuetainment, doing wonderful things in YouTube streets. And this is the PBD podcast, Peter Bet David podcast. One of the leaders out there in terms of conservative speech and talking points, and quite simply a very, very good podcast of that. So shout out to PBD podcast and Valuetainment for this. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Let's get back into this with Andrew Tate.
Patek. I just wonder what, for him saying something like that. Let's go to Shapiro. Shapiro says,
But before we move on from Dave, but this is the thing that's so important. If I was my enemy, I wouldn't talk about me. But my enemies are so obsessed with giving me unlimited energy. I don't tweet about Dave. I don't care about him getting excited over a sports team and masturbating when he's high on weed. I don't give a shit that he has no children and he's sitting around alone. I don't care about Dave. But he seems to care about me. I truly have a worldview, and this is an actual genuine belief of mine. And it can't be explained by science, but I guarantee you it's true. If there's enough human beings out in the world consuming calories, they're doing whatever they have to do. They're going to work, and they're trying hard to find money to buy food, to eat calories, to stay alive. And they're converting those calories into my name, either by typing it or thinking about me, negative or positive. That is orgons, a word I've just made up. Orgons.
I'm like Googling it right now.
Into the universe, out into the world, which I absorb. Why am I so lucky? Why are my arms so big? How come I have so much money? Because there's all these millions of people around the world who cannot stop putting Andrew Tate orgons into the atmosphere. So Dave has just paid me. Thank you, Dave. But after this little splurt, I promise you, the chance of me ever considering him as a human being ever again is fucking zero.
Really?
I don't give a fuck about Dave Portnoy. I couldn't care less.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, Andrew is very, very forward in his viewpoint, and you can see the shock in the eyes of Peter Bet David. He is stunned, and so he should be. But again, he is absolutely right. Andrew Tate's living rent-free in a lot of people's heads, including the likes of Dave Portnoy, who is a very successful man himself, but he doesn't have the influence that a man like Andrew Tate does. And it drives him crazy. It makes him sleep less at night, and it shouldn't do at all. But let's get back. Let's finish off the segment about him speaking about Ben Shapiro. And then I want to go back to the feelings of a certain Ron DeSantis, who is the governor of Florida, and his stance that Andrew Tate should be prosecuted to the highest level of the law, and also shouldn't be allowed back into the state. Period. Which is shocking to me, being a fellow conservative. Let's get on and continue. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live.
What's this one here, by the way, Rob?
That's Dave Portnoy. This is Ben Shapiro.
Let's go to Shapiro. So,
little Ben. One second. One second. I'm Ben. Let me lower my chair. Let me lower my chair down.
Listen, I suggested the other day that you and Ben do a podcast together.
Listen, I said he should have you on. I'm not even going to read Ben's crap. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear Ben's crap. Let me talk about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, the only OnlyFans donates to AIPAC, which pays Ben. So when he complains about anything to do with me helping girls optimize webcam profiles 12 years ago is absolutely hypocritical. He's taking money from OnlyFans today. He's taking money from OnlyFans as it stands.
Ben does OnlyFans videos?
Ben... Oh, I'm sure for enough money he would. I'm sure for enough money he would. Midget
I did not know that.
Midget porn.
Nice little dig at Ben Shapiro, to be fair and frank. Yeah, he's a small man. Let's continue.
OnlyFans are paying APAC, which are paying him as it stands.
Oh, that's what you're
saying. So anything about his pornography crap can go out the window. Anything about him complaining about my criminal charges, once again, due process out the window. I like to think, after what they just did to Trump. By the way, remember, Trump is convicted, and he's president, and nobody believes it. I'm not even convicted. And Trump was convicted in an American court, New York. Okay, you can barely call it American, but it's better than Romania. And I'm not even convicted. So he's our president we all respect and look up to. But me, with a lower barrier, who's been lower down the chain, they're going to pretend they're offended by for some reason. So what Ben does is say, Andrew's a criminal, and Andrew did pornography, even though he takes money from porn, and I'm not convicted. And he only does this because he's extremely small, and I'm extremely big, that's why he's upset. He's small and upset, and he's just going to have to sit over there and be small and upset.
All right, let's see.
Wow, calling him out on his Napoleonic complex. Yeah, that is definitely hitting below the belt from a man who has a black belt. Let's continue.
What you're going to say about this next one? Because this next one, she's got a lot of credibility. Megyn Kelly. I don't know if you saw what she said. And no. Megyn is a G. Megyn's very good at what she does.
Didn't know what she said.
Yeah, she came out and she, the Tampa Bay young Republican said something about welcoming you and Tristan as a free speech absolutist. The Tates haven't been formally convicted of any crime. And we are welcome to speak to our group. He is welcome to speak. We are old enough to remember when a convicted felon won the presidency.
Absolutely.
Free state.
Absolutely.
She responds, you've lost your ways, boys.
Well, Megyn, I've never spoken to you in my life. I actually saw a few clips of yours. I thought that you were pretty good. I was a fan. You still can't drive. But it's fine. I mean, like, people are allowed... people are allowed...
Maybe driving classes.
People are allowed...
This one is marketing, the other one...
Oh, man. You can't drive, Megyn, but you can have an opinion. It's a free country. You can have your opinion on me, and you can be offended by me for some reason. You can give me your organs, Megyn. You can sit, and you can eat your food, and you can talk around the table about how Andrew Tate's a bad guy, and then one person out of the group will argue with you. Before you know it, there's all these long, hour-long conversations about Andrew Tate that I don't even know take place. I just seem to keep getting all these organs from somewhere. Megyn Kelly's allowed an opinion on me. It's a free country. And I'm allowed an opinion on her. My opinion on her, from what I've seen, is pretty positive. But she can say whatever she wants. I'm not offended by it. I don't take it personally. I'm sure she may have seen some clips which are out of context, which we've discussed before, and we'll discuss again. And they're never going to let drop, and we can talk about that. That's fine.
Would you speak with her?
Oh, yeah. She doesn't know me.
No. Meaning, let's just say Megyn invites you. Would you speak with her? Would you do a show with her?
I would love it. And she'd sit me down, and she'd try a BBC-style hit piece, and she'd be very disappointed by how badly she gets wrecked. But I would happily wreck her, yeah. I'd happily destroy Megyn, sure. And I'd teach her to drive afterwards. And then we can be friends.
A lovely BBC reference, ladies and gentlemen. Look it up. Let's continue.
Listen, what a big heart you have.
I'm a nice man. Megyn, I'm nice. Where's all this negative? I'm a nice guy.
Okay, you know where I'm going with this? This is kind of where I'm going with this. The reason why I'm going with this is the following. I'm really trying to find out. Josh Hawley, respected guy. Okay, this guy's a respected guy. I don't think conservatives should be glorifying this guy at all. I certainly don't think that we should be using any influence in our government to try to get him out of what seem to be extremely serious charges in Romania. So I would hope that we weren't involved in any way. This is Josh Hawley.
Who's this?
Josh Hawley.
Senator. Sorry, wait. Who?
Rob, can you pull up his picture so he knows who Josh Hawley? Big YouTuber.
Who?
Pull him up. Josh Hawley.
Who?
This guy right here.
Oh, soy face.
By the way.
Fuck him.
Hey,
fuck him.
He is respected. He is respected.
Not by me.
He carries weight.
Not by me.
Okay. So
next.
In a serious conversation, why do you think some of these guys, Megan's a family person, Josh, family person, Dave, fair. You want to say what you want to say about Dave, single, doesn't have kids yet, all that other stuff.
I forgot, isn't it Dave who?
Dave Portnoy.
Sorry, I forgot.
You got Ben Shapiro, family guy. On the conservative
Ben
side.
Shapiro's not a family guy. Ben Shapiro's a midget warmonger who, if he got sent to war himself, would piss his little pants. Sitting down and spending the last 10 years advocating for big, strong men to go die in ditches while he sits at home collecting money. Ben is a warmongering piece of shit. He's not a family guy. Ben's actually a bad person. And I'm saying that genuinely. I don't usually have personal beefs with people. Ben is a bad person.
Tell me why.
Look at his. You don't need to know much about him. Look at his history during COVID. Look how he pushed for everyone who didn't take the vaccine to not be able to fly and leave their house. Look at all his warmongering. Every single war, he's desperate for people to go to war permanently all of the time. And then he sits there hypocritically and say, oh, yeah, Andrew Tate's accused and porn while taking money from OnlyFans himself. He's just a bad person. Ben's just a bad person. That's the truth about Ben.
Okay, so that's your opinion. Stick to the family.
That's a fact, sir.
Okay.
That's a fact, sir. So, that's a Diamond Protect fact.
Stick with conservative families, okay?
Sure.
Why do you think they have a challenge? What do you think it is? Purely with the values and principles. Because you talk about justice earlier. Justice is important to you, right? And I've watched you. I'm a family guy.
Yep.
I got I got a wife. I got 4 kids.
Yep.
I got 2 boys, 2
Only
girls.
4.
And listen, if I had it my way, I'd go to 20. Look, I'm sure you like seeing Elon having his 14th. I'm sure that for
Me
you
and
it's
Elon
kind of
understand each other. Let's put it at that. Let's leave it that way.
Yeah, but the point being, we've spent time, and we'll sit down and I say, yeah, that's just not my lifestyle.
Yeah.
I would do it this way.
Yeah.
Him and I don't see face to face here.
Yeah.
We disagree here, but we get along.
Yeah.
We have a respectful conversation every single time.
Absolutely.
But why do you think some of the conservatives who are net positive to society, why do you think they have a problem with you?
Oh, I know that a lot of people have problems with me, and I completely understand why.
Specific to conservatives, though.
Well, the conservatives that have a problem with me see me as extreme, and they see me as degrading to the society, not understanding that in every single contingent and every single battalion, you need to have people who do different roles and do different things. I may be extreme, right? I may be seen as a rebel or an outlaw, or I may have extreme views or do extreme things. But I am extremely important in the battle against liberalism and the insanity and the communism of the world today. I may do a different job. Yeah, a sniper does something different than an assault troop, but we're all necessary. So they think that I'm not on their side because I don't live the same as them. But let's be honest, and I want to state this without arrogance. None of these people who were sitting at home, white picket fence, perfect upbringing, never had any of the terrible life I had, because I had a very hard life, never had any of the struggle I had, never had any of these things, who were criticizing me for my views and things I've done. None of those people moved the needle like I did.
Absolutely true, ladies and gentlemen. I let that run a little longer than usual, but I did it for a point, and that is this. Andrew Tate's life definitely is a polar opposite to the life of Ben Shapiro, to the life of Megyn Kelly, to the life of Representative Josh Hawley. These people have enjoyed quite fruitful, quite affluent, quite happy, and better than normal lives, quite simply. They've lived a life of luxury, most of them, for most of their lives, and they poo-poo the likes of Andrew Tate, who has literally got it out the mud, who has literally, been at the, been a working class individual since he was a child. He finally made his way up in the world, and they see him as being a miscreant. They see him as being a upstart. See him as being being beneath them, quite simply, which is quite insulting to be fair and frank. And now his reputation is bigger than their own, and for that they're jealous. Many people, and this is my own opinion, of course. Many people would be jealous of an Andrew Tate who got it out the mud. Quite simply, has faced trials much harsher than their own, and from their ivory towers want to criticize him. But quite simply, his reputation and his influence on the culture is way greater than these individuals, and they're jealous of him. Dave Portnoy's jealous of him. Ben Shapiro, Josh Hawley, Megyn Kelly, all are jealous of him. Even as we will go back to see, Ron DeSantis is jealous of him. And it's it irks them. It really, really does irk them that these people who have had their way most of their lives are less than influential than a man like Andrew Tate. And long may it continue. Let's continue.
I was a cultural force. And I was a cultural force for the good guys. I'm not saying I'm a perfect person, but soldiers are not perfect. Warriors are not perfect. The Special Forces operators, every single Navy SEAL you can find has put a bullet in a kid's head. But he's doing it for his country. You can't be a good warrior if you're a perfect person. If I had no bad history, never swore, didn't know any women, and I sat at home and a white picket fence, and I was completely legit, and I'd done everything by the book, I wouldn't have the impact I have. The reason I can speak the way I speak is because I understand the struggles of young men, because I grew up in the poorest possible socioeconomic area in the UK. My finger came off. I was stabbed. I made money a illegitimate way. I managed to clean myself up, get up out the ghetto, clean things up, teach men how to be strong, how to be resilient. I have a life story. So these people see me as their enemy for some reason, not understanding that all of those elements that they don't like are the reason I am the force I am. If I had a perfect, easy little life, I mean, I've had it all the time from these conservatives. They're a pastor, and they live in Nebraska, and they married their first love, and they have a white picket fence, and they go to church every Sunday. Great, good for you. Guess what? Most men in the world don't care what you say, because there's no light without dark, and I have enough dark to bring the light. So you have to stop seeing me as your enemy because I don't live the same life you do. That's the reason I have the impact I have. I'm not going to apologize for being me. I'm not going to apologize for the circumstances I was born in either. I'm not going to apologize. You know, it's truly crazy. They say, oh, Andrew said this on video. He should go to jail. Didn't 50 Cent sing that he was a pimp? Why is he not in jail? There's a video of 50 Cent on YouTube saying he's a PIMP. Is he locked up? No. Videos aren't real, right? So none of this stuff is real. It's just YouTube garbage. And they take it and they pretend that I'm the one degrading society. Not the warmongers who are sending us into endless wars. Not the drug dealers who are pushing drugs. Not the liberals who are trying to chop your balls off. No, it's me. I'm the bad guy. You know, Kissinger. He's Kissinger, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Henry Kissinger, yeah.
He said a whole bunch of negative shit about me. Wasn't he pro-Iraq war? Wasn't he pro-war, Kissinger? I don't know the exact schematics of it. But there are literal warmongers. There are literal warmongers who are begging for people to be blown to pieces, then tweeting that I'm the bad guy. How the fuck does that make sense? So these conservatives need to really, truly identify who their enemy is, and it's not me. The reason they hate me so fervently, the reason they dislike me, is because I get the attention they wish they got.
What did Kissinger say about you?
Oh, something like I'm back.
Very true. Well said there by Andrew Tate. You know what? And, hate runs deep, as my man Socrates would say. And, a lot of people have had it, as I said, had it their way most of their lives. They've lived first-class lives, quite simply, and they hated that a man who has had to indeed get it out the mud had indeed, totally, done things illegitimately, but have cleaned themselves up to become influential men and men of power, men of reason, and men of influence. And it shocks them that they have this sort of influence that they should have, because they've had it their way most of their lives. People, if people are going to be upset at others who have done things surreptitiously to a certain extent, and won, and literally won, and for that we've got to give Andrew Tate his due. He has gone through the worst of perils. He's gone through the worst of means. He has been persecuted incessantly, and yet he is still standing. And that's something that many of these commentators, many of these political individuals, many of these platforms, many of these traditional conservatives have tried to do but can't. They literally cannot live the life of an Andrew Tate, because if they do, they piss their pants, as Andrew Tate has already said. Let's continue.
Bad, and I shouldn't.
Kissinger's dead.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I got the wrong name.
Adam Kissinger or the old Kissinger?
I don't know.
This
Henry
is Adam
Kissinger.
Kinzinger.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no,
Henry
Kissinger is dead. No,
Who's
I want to make sure
I don't know who
Kissinger
these
was
people
a
are.
very
Henry
heavyweight
Kissinger
guy.
was a
Well, he died in
former-
23.
Which, by the way,
Secretary.
you're right. Kissinger was a
big
guy
time.
that caused war a lot.
Oh,
But you may be talking about Adam Kinzinger.
Is he pro-war?
Adam
Yeah,
Kinzinger's not going to be a fan of yours.
no, for sure
Okay,
not.
so let's be professionals. Can everyone stop being emotional and calm down? Let's be professionals. People, no.
We're the ones being emotional, Andrew.
No. To the conservative audience, the people who allowed you to be locked in your houses and lose your business and are sending your tax money abroad to fund endless wars and have murdered millions of people around the globe are saying, I'm the bad guy. The people who are on Epstein's Island, who own the media outlets, are saying, I'm the bad guy. And you're not mad at them, you're mad at me? Are you a moron? Like, are you stupid now at this point? This has been going on for 4 years with federal agencies from the USA, the UK, and Romania trying to pin me down, and they can't. Is that not proof of evidence? Is that not evidence of innocence? What more could you possibly ask? You take any one of these governors, senators, media outlet people, any of them, put them under the same scrutiny I've been under, and they'll all be locked up. Every single one, for corruption, for racketeering, for influencing, all of them. But me, I seem to walk every single case. And then the conservatives are getting psyoped into believing that I'm degrading society. Me, not the media, not the fake news, not the transsexuals, not the drag queen story hours, not chopping your balls off, not sending our young men away to die in a ditch. No, me. Because what? I made a joke saying women can't drive?
Well, there seems to be a common thread with the conservatives, by the way.
And to be fair and frank, I've never seen a woman win a race before against men. So, Andrew does have a point. It's not to say that women can't drive, but they can't win a race. Let's continue.
And it's, you kind of alluded to it, but the pastor in Nebraska as an example, they're marrying their high school sweetheart, one woman, have sex with one woman, that's who you marry. Where you're viewed as a womanizer, and you proudly said this.
I wish.
But yet Elon Musk gets a pass.
Well, no, but this is the thing. I did a long 30-minute video on this exact subject. I want to talk about this. In fact, let me put my sunglasses back on. And by the way, I want to look cool. Let me look cool.
Damn.
I wish I could meet one woman in high school and fall in love with her. I wish I could. That sounds like a blessing. And I support them absolutely. But I didn't. I grew up a different way, and I didn't. And truthfully, I have a different worldview. Now, we can go down this whole conversation, perhaps we should, but I did a long 30-minute video on Elon and his recent baby drama. Mm-hmm. And I was explaining that all the people who are insulting Elon don't seem to understand that at his economic bracket and at his capability and at his mental, with his challenges that he's facing, I don't know the guy personally, but I would argue that his primary interests are rockets in space and Tesla. He's probably not that interested in sitting around with girls and having date nights. He wants to do rockets and Tesla. So what does he need from females? Children. So that's what he does. Does he pay for them? Does he take care of them? Are they safe? Does he love them? Yes, but he has other concerns. This is the business of kings. That's what kings do. Progeny, sons, heirs, cool. Back to work. I understand Elon, absolutely. Trump does the same thing. He has 3 or 4 baby mothers. I don't know. This is the business of kings. If you have the financial capability to take care of 5 or 6 different women, and they're all happy to birth your progeny, then you're going to have a whole bunch of children. This, once again, comes down to jealousy. The pastor in Nebraska is jealous of me because I will always have more kids than him because I can bake more bread because I have more ovens. You can be mad. You can hate me for it. You can say I'm the bad guy. But my children are paid for. They're safe. Their women are paid for. Nobody's unhappy. Everybody's happy. That's the scenario that we're all in. It's my life decision. It's their life decision. And it's nothing to do with you. I don't criticize you making your decision, so don't criticize me making mine. That's the bottom line of it. But they're jealous I have more influence than them. I understand, but to sit there and pretend that it's a threat to society that I have a whole bunch of rich women living in mansions, having children that we're all happy, is garbage. There's much larger threats to society than that.
Just to specify.
Wonderful, wonderful take there by Andrew Tate in the sense. I think this is Red Pill 101. The fact of the matter is he is a winner. The fact of the matter, he's done extraordinary things with very little allotted to him in life. Now, some would say that it has been done through extraordinary means. It is done through illegal means. But the fact of the matter is, there are many people who are rich who have done things through illegal means, but they are not as prosecuted as an Andrew Tate. And to wit, because of his genetic disposition, women want to breed with him. Women want to start families with him, and he has many women who have born his children. To which they are all well taken care of, and you hear no complaints from these women. So it's as he's already said. I mean, this is the burden of winners. The likes of Andrew Tate, the likes of Elon Musk, the likes of let's say a Kanye West, the likes of of many out there, the likes of a Donald Trump, to be fair and frank. A lot. It's for them who have literally gone out there, made their name in the world, that they are allowed this allotment of women to bear their children. And they have the genetic disposition to make it so, and the looks to make it so. So for a lot of these guys, they're very, very jealous of the fact that they may be shorter, they may not be as good looking, they may not have they may have had an easier life, they may not have as many as many perils and trials as an Andrew Tate, but yet he still comes back on top. And to that, they become a little bit jealous. And it's a shame that things are taken to that extent. But Andrew has survived. Andrew has persevered, and to that he should be given credit. Let's just go to now a little bit earlier because I want to get into this with regards to Andrew DeSantis because this really did get me. I started from the end to come back. I started from the middle to come back to the beginning because I wanted to get Andrew's take on the issues of certain conservative influences first. But secondly, now I want to get into more of a political vein where he discusses. Again, the likes of Ron DeSantis, who's a conservative himself, who is one of these Andrew Tate haters, unfortunately, and stating that he should be prosecuted at the highest points of the law. But let's get into it a little bit further. But thank you very much for joining me on Talk live on IG and YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Yes, it was a bit long in coming, but I am here, and I am clear of mind, thought, sound, body, and mind, and I'm going to be working out that mind and body tonight. Got to be at the gym. Got to get myself fit. As we move on and move forward, yes, let's have this discussion regarding Andrew Tate versus Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida. Let's go.
Everybody's doing their thing. Nobody's paying attention to what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Andrew and Tristan Tate are on a flight on their way to Florida. They haven't tweeted anything for 24 hours. You guys concern people when you stop tweeting.
Fair use.
And then all of a sudden, tweet X, whatever you want to call it, and there's no message going out. I don't know if you can say Xing, right? They were tweeted. So then all of a sudden, the news is you land in Florida. Everybody sees the video. When that happens, the great governor of Florida, which is one of the reasons why we moved here, he does a great job running the state. He was asked about you. This is what he had to say. Rob, if you can play the clip.
Send back to Romania or whatever. We have no involvement in that. I read about it through the media. Clearly, the federal government has jurisdiction, whether they want to rebuff his entry into the United States, and I have confidence that whether it's Pam Bondi or Kristi Noem, that they will be looking at that. I do know our Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, is looking at what state hooks and jurisdiction we may have to be able to deal with this. But the reality is no, Florida is not a place where you're welcome with that type of conduct in the air. And I don't know how it came to this. We were not involved. We were not notified. I found out through the media that this was something that was happening. Okay, God.
So he says you're not welcome. Now, President Trump was asked the same question. This was his reaction, and I'm just going to turn it over to you after this.
The federal government has jurisdiction.
Can you turn off the other one, Rob? Just close it up. Yeah, there you go. Go for it.
Tate landed in Florida today on a private jet after being released from custody in Romania. They are accused rapists, human traffickers, not thought of as good people in many circles. Did your administration pressure the Romanian government to release them? And if so,
I know nothing about that. I don't know. You're saying he's on a plane right now?
He's back. They already.
Yeah, I just know nothing about it. We'll check it out. We'll let you know.
Andrew and.
So, you got the governor says Florida is not a place where you belong or welcome to. President Trump says he doesn't know anything about it. How were you allowed to come to the States and leave Romania?
You know what's interesting? Trump is such a boss. Trump is such a boss. His answer is, he is such a gangster. Don't know. I don't know anything about it. I don't know. That's the correct answer to most things. This is some life advice to everybody at home. 99% of the time, if you're asked a question as a man, the correct answer is, I don't know. I don't know. So I like Trump's answer. As for Ron, I'm a little bit disappointed, I'll be honest. I've never said anything bad about him. I didn't know much about him. I was a fan of his. I heard that Florida was a great state. I know he did well under COVID. I knew nothing about the guy. But it turns out when he was pressured, he instantly caved to the pressure. And we have to have a long conversation about why the liberals and why Soros and why these wrap-up smears, why they use the media to do what they do. Because what they try and do is isolate somebody. So they're afraid to be, so people are afraid to represent them or stand by them or stick up for due process. I don't know why Ron's answer wasn't, he has an American passport. The judicial system in Romania, which I know absolutely nothing about, decided to let him fly. And he's flown to his home country. As far as we're concerned, he's broken no laws. Instead, what he did was say, we're going to get our attorney general to try and find some laws he's broken and wreck this man who's done nothing inside of the United States ever. Isn't the whole point of democracy innocent until proven guilty? I've yet to even have a trial, let alone a conviction. I've never even been tried. After 3 years, I've never been to trial. All those times I'm walking in and out of court, I've never had a trial. And communism, as we've understood it and tried very hard to fight against for so long, the basic premise is that you find the man and then find the crime. Is that not exactly what Ron DeSantis just promised to all of his constituents? It's not, we've seen a crime, let's find the perpetrator. It's, we found a man, let's see if we can find a crime to pin on this man. Is that the American way? Is that democracy? Is that innocent until proven guilty? Now, I'm not afraid of it because I know I've done nothing wrong. But it's quite unusual and quite scary for me to land as an American citizen, expecting a hero's welcome after dealing with a foreign and complicated judicial process, and being told that now the American state is going to be set on me, trying its very best to lock me up here when I've done nothing wrong ever. This is communism in and of itself. I may as well fly back to Romania. This is incredible that I landed and the governor of Florida is like, don't worry, I told my attorney general to try and find things this man's done. Where did that even come from? So I'm very, very disappointed in Ron. I think he did it because he caved under media pressure. And if he wants some media training, he can hit me up. There's no problem. If he wants training, Ron, there's a reason you lost the presidential election. There's a reason you got wrecked. If you want some training, come to me and I'll tell you. Your correct answer was, we have no information of crimes he's committed inside the United States. He has an American passport. We were not aware of his arrival, but it's not really our concern. He's an American citizen returning to his home country. If he breaks the law within Florida, he will be held accountable as well as any other person would be. And until that point, that's it. But instead, he just completely caved and folded. You know what's really interesting?
To be fair, Andrew Tate's got a. Well, listen, he is a. I mean, his thought and the way he processes thoughts is I think one of the best things about him. He processes things at such a genius level, quite simply. Not to say that he is a genius in and of itself, but I think he's a very, very smart individual, a very, very erudite individual, a very, very the way he processes thoughts and ideas and feelings is I think of a again is super, super fantastic, to be fair. But let's get into this. I mean, he's absolutely right. I mean, it's unfair on any man with who has not caused a crime in a certain in any other country to be considered worthy of crime, worthy of persecution when he has done nothing wrong. And that's exactly what Ron DeSantis is insinuating with his speech right there. He's insinuating that his attorney general should try to drum up crimes against Andrew Tate, even though he's done nothing wrong and carries a U.S. passport and is, again, a U.S. citizen. Remember, Andrew Tate was born in the United States and was raised in England. Born in the United States, raised in England. So for anyone to think that he is English and he went there in America on a visa and he should be pardoned, the fact of the matter is, if he shows an American passport, he can enter the country. He cannot be stopped. And I think it's very, very dishonorable, very, very disrespectful, very, very onerous of Governor Ron DeSantis to charge his attorney general with finding crimes against Andrew Tate so that he could be prosecuted. I think that goes against the rule of law. I think that goes against jurisprudence in and of itself. And it's finding a man guilty until proven innocent. And that is not how any sort of democratic or judicial process should be run. And, shame on Ron DeSantis for even thinking as such. And I think, I don't agree with a lot of things that Donald Trump has done, including the tariffs against Canada, which quite simply is, I think, asinine, to be fair. But one thing he does get right, there are two things he gets right. Number one, his stance on the LGBTQ community. And number two, his stance on Andrew Tate right here, in that he says, I don't know. He literally says, I don't know. Until he commits a crime, then we will not be alerted to him. And he has a U.S. passport, and he's allowed to stay in this country. So, well done to Donald Trump for allowing that to be done and running a good campaign and having a stance on the LGBTQ community the way he does. The alphabet gang, as I call them. Let's continue.
thing. The liberals, Soros, all these NGOs, the media, they understand something intrinsically that conservatives do not understand. In the conservative world, an accusation is the same as a conviction, which is why liberals are so effective. The liberals will accuse a conservative of something. They'll wrap-up smear them. Hello, Ron. Nancy Pelosi explained the wrap-up smear. She explained it herself. You can find a clip of her explaining. You get the media to repeat something so many times that that person's name becomes toxic. And then what that person says isn't significant anymore because of the accusations attributed to their name. Nancy Pelosi described how they do this to people.
Is this a clip?
Let's play it.
Go for it, Brian.
Hospitals and the rest of it. So they don't want them to see that contrast, so they focus on something else. And it's a diversionary tactic. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident. But
very, very well said there by Andrew Tate, and illustrated there by Representative Nancy Pelosi. The wrap-up smear is everything that Andrew Tate is accused of or has been tried to be found guilty of. People have cast him as a misogynist. People have cast him as a outcast. People have cast him as a criminal for operating a, well, quote-unquote, legal operation. And to it, all these accusations are stuck to a point where he is one of the most hated men in, if not in the Americas, then in the world, quite simply. And it's truly shameful that Andrews had to go through this. But you know, when you try to influence men the way he does, then certain people, including government, including feminists, including blue pill thinkers, are going to always demonize and vilify the likes of Andrew Tate, to a point where indeed people that I know and love don't want to be a part of this podcast because they don't want to give Andrew Tate a chance because of all the smears against him, instead of judging him on what he is and his character. You got to see through that. You got to see through all the bile. You got to see through all the nonsense, but a lot of people do not care to do so, simply because of their political views, simply because of the wrap-up smear, and simply because they don't like to see a guy like Andrew Tate exist and tell men how to live. Let's continue.
Earth to Ron. Earth to Ron. Like, this is what they do. They demonize you in the media to the point where nobody will stand by you and your ideas are ignored because of what you're accused of. This is exactly what they did to me. Ron fell for it. Instead of standing there and saying, we have no evidence of crimes, he has an American passport, it's innocent until proven guilty, I don't understand the Romanian system, what he did was collapse instantly and completely. And liberals know this. If you accuse a conservative of something on the other side, the conservatives cannibalize. An accusation is as bad as a conviction in the conservative circles. If you accuse a liberal of something, do you think the liberals care? Let me change it. If a liberal is convicted, if a liberal held a gun to a pregnant woman, if a liberal is a career criminal, they don't care. But our side, if you're accused of something, you're instantly cannibalized. Talk about the weakness in the conservative circle. We wonder why we've been getting our asses kicked by people who don't know what gender they are for years. Because all they have to do is point and lie. Put it in the news enough times, and they will take out our strongest soldiers. I was one of the strongest soldiers advocating for conservative.
Hey, and believe me, they have tried to do this to a certain Dave Chappelle. They have accused him of being anti-LGBTQ. They tried to smear him. However, luckily, the likes of Netflix have seen through those lies and allowed him to live his life to a point where they've renewed his contract, because they know in making them money, in telling his truth, he's way more valuable than any Alphabet Gang member. All Alphabet Gang members put together, quite simply. Listen, this is indeed the blueprint. This is indeed the playbook of liberals and of the pink mafia, and smear to the point where a man is vilified and no one trusts him, and allow this man to suffer incessantly in life and in career. And it's been this way for the last 50 to 60 years, and it shows no sign of stopping, even in a conservative space, because any sort of blemish on you cannot be considered as a true conservative, because you have to be pure as a driven snow, like a Ben Shapiro, like a Megyn Kelly, like a Josh Hawley. And they hate the fact that they're pure as driven snow, yet they do not have the influence of one Andrew Tate. Let's continue.
And helping men, especially young men, find their masculinity once again. So they just attacked me, and now who's against me? Liberals, yeah, and a whole bunch of conservatives are upset with me. Oh, but the media said. The media said, have you not been through COVID? Do you not remember what the media said about Trump? Hello, Nancy Pelosi just told you what they do, Ron. And he sat there and completely collapsed. I'm not offended, personally, and I'm not afraid of his AG, because I've done nothing wrong. And if you want to put me in jail in America, I'm not afraid of that either, because I've just accepted my fate. I'm public enemy number one. However, I actually truly see this. And Ron, this is not an insult. That was a competency test you failed. You failed a competency test as a leader. Trump didn't. They asked Trump questions, and he answered like a gangster. He answered like a man should answer. I don't know. Because he doesn't know. He doesn't know the details of the Romanian system. He's not read my bullshit indictment. He's never spoken to me. He doesn't know. That's a correct professional answer.
You guys have never spoken.
I've never spoken to Donald Trump.
So how were you able to come to the States? I heard stories. One of them was, sorry for your loss of your grandmother. Yep. I heard the news. And, where one part of the story is that they allowed you to come here for the loss of your family, that you're here. Another one is you're visiting because now you can. But which one is it? What's the reason why you're
I'll tell you why.
Please.
I'll tell you why, but I'm going to finish that point. When you do not know something, the most masculine thing you can say is, I don't know. Trump's like, I don't know. I don't know the details. I don't know. I'll look into it. Instead, Ron knew nothing and collapsed. So Ron failed a basic competency test. That's what I believe. I don't care what he said. I'm not scared of his AG. He failed a competency test. That's his problem and his burden. So that's my view on Ron.
But one thing I want to qualify this. You just made a commitment to helping him out with marketing if he says yes.
If he pays me.
You're open to it.
Look, I like money. If he'll pay me, I'll teach him how to deal with the media, because clearly he failed.
But all I'm saying is, if you commit to it, they may get a call for 2028. Just be ready for that. But
absolutely.
Yeah, so
if he can afford me. I'm very famous, and I'm very important. So if he can afford me, if Ron can afford me, I'll help him out. And I'll let him know the reason he failed. Because especially, and this is extremely important, and I don't think people actually understand how much subconscious judging that they go through all of the time. When you walk into a room, you're subconsciously judged all of the time.
Right.
And small little failures like that, even the people who hate me, even the people who dislike me and are happy he said something negative against me, if you're going to collapse in the face of the ABC or NBC and people who do nothing but lie and start spouting garbage which you know nothing about, how are you going to stand in front of Putin? How are you going to stand in front of Xi? Like, you failed a competency test. I don't believe he's fit to run a country anymore. Thank God he's not president. That's what I think after I saw that. I'm not scared of what he said. I just literally think he failed a competency test. Now let's talk about why I was allowed back in America. Well, the first thing is I have a passport. That's the first reason. Secondly, it's kind of amazing that I'm seen as the #1 fugitive. I have no criminal record anywhere on the planet. I have no criminal record in the UK. I have no criminal record in Romania. I've never been convicted. I've never been convicted of anything in America. I have no criminal record ever. If you go down to the mall in Miami and walk around, you're going to walk past 30% of people with convictions. You're going to walk around amongst criminals. I've never been convicted of anything ever. So it's amazing that I'm fugitive #1. That's the second point that's interesting. The third point, and this is what's kind of funny when they tie Trump into me being free. My case was dismissed in December under President Joe Biden. The judge ruled that there wasn't enough evidence for it to go to trial in December under Joe Biden. Then the standard operating procedure in Romania and every other sophisticated judicial system is there's no indictment in the court. It was rejected by the court to go to trial due to lack of evidence, or in fact, in our case, it wasn't even lack of evidence. It was falsified evidence. It was illegal evidence, which we can talk about. It was rejected, but for some reason our bail conditions were kept. And they were kept saying the prosecutor believes he might rewrite it and try again. Is this a judicial system? 2 years you keep me trapped in a country? You send an indictment to court? the court rejects it, and they keep you on bail so the prosecutor can spend another 2 years typing up garbage? Is this a judicial system? I ask all the Americans who are watching this, how much blood do you expect me to give to a foreign country's judicial system? I gave them 3 years of my life, my reputation, missed my grandmother's funeral, didn't see 2 of my children, lost my money, lost my house, lost my cars, sat there, went to court on time, every single time, and it got rejected by the court. And now I'm kept on bail, and eventually they release it and let me fly. Am I supposed to do what? How long am I supposed to sit there while this country decides to try and find charges on me? Have I not done enough? Have I not given enough to Romania? My bail conditions are that I have to return on the 23rd of March. And I'm going to make it very clear to right now to everybody listening. I am going back. I'm going to fly back and obey my bail conditions. I'm not running from anything because I'm not a coward. But I find it completely flabbergasting that people are sitting there going, oh, Andrew, why did he leave Romania if he's innocent? I've been there 3 years dealing with this garbage, and I never went anywhere. Let's actually analyze this. And
before he goes on to analyze this, let's call a spade, people. Andrew Tate has every right to be in the United States. Whether you like him or not, he has every right to be in the United States. He has not committed a crime. He is not accused of a crime. He has been indicted, but not due to lack of evidence. He has not been convicted. He has not been even tried because of lack of evidence. People, he is a free man for a reason. There's nothing on him. He has no criminal record. So why are we so unhappy that he's in the United States? Why are we that he's so unhappy that he has an American passport, to which he is fully and truly entitled to because he's an American citizen. He was born in the United States. He's allowed to come and go as he pleases. He's an American citizen, whether you like it or not. Whether the fact that you like the fact that he may have a British accent. The fact of the matter is he was born in the States. So for you to find a crime on a man who was born in the States, simply because he does not hold the same views that everyone else does, is criminalist in and of itself. It's criminal in and of itself. This man has done no crime. He is allowed to come and go as he pleases. Yes, he may have bail issues. Not bail issues. Parole issues in Romania that he has to go back to. And that is all well and good. But at the end of the day, he's a free and entitled citizen to do and go where the hell he wants. He has done no crime. The fact of the matter is he may have different political views and different ideas than you do. That does not make him prosecutable. Whether you like it or not, it does not make him a man worthy of going to jail. No matter what he says. The fact of the matter is he's empowering young men, and that's what's driving everyone crazy. From traditional conservatives to liberals to the alphabet gang to feminists. They can't stand it because he has gone through the fire and won, and they can't do anything about it. And he's becoming more influential by the day. But as we've already said, if he keeps following the law, I don't want it to go there, but you can understand what could happen. Let's continue. Oh, just hit my microphone. Let's go.
Imagine in an American court they said to you, yeah, you're innocent. Yeah, there's not enough for trial, but you're still on bail. You still can't fly. You still can't go anywhere. We sent it back to the prosecutor and told them to try again. How long will that take? As long as they want. Is that justice? I ask anybody, is that justice? Is that expected of me? It's absolutely insane. And all the people who are complaining about the fact I'm here have never been to Romania, don't know the Romanian system, don't know the Romanian judicial process. I've been through it for 3 years. I barely understand it. These people are sitting around talking about things when they don't even understand. They don't have a clue what they're talking about. Another question, which is quite pertinent, I want to ask. I've seen a lot of idiots say, Andrew escaped Romania because it was corrupt. If it's corrupt when I get to leave, isn't it corrupt when they lock me up? Or no, it's not corrupt and they stick to the rules when they lock me up and destroy my life, but after 3 years without charges, when I'm allowed to leave, it's corruption. Think about the dichotomy of that. It's either one or the other. So people are just picking and choosing and doing anything they can because they don't like me. This has nothing to do with due process. These people don't respect due process. They don't care if I'm innocent or not. They just don't like me. Patrick, I have a feeling if I was fat and ugly, none of this would be happening in terms of the hate that I'm getting from the conservative type. But you know when you're like tall, brown, sexy, and rich? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nice protect.
Yeah.
Mine's got diamonds. When you're tall, brown, sexy, and rich, they just don't like you. Any conservative should be sitting here going, I don't agree with Tate, but due process, and he's not been charged. He's not guilty, so he's fine. It's normal. But they hate me so intrinsically. They hate me on a visceral level where they're saying, forget due process, forget the legality, forget the fact that the Romanian judicial system shouldn't be trusted, forget the fact he's given him 3 years of his life, forget all that. He's bad. Crazy.
By the way, when you say this...
You know what? And this goes back, this has just come to me in the revelation quite simply. You know who also that was young, brown, rich, and influential, and whose future ended, and who was very much vilified, but although he was starting to turn his life, starting to turn the tide, and literally reaching out to the people who so much hated him, yes, Kevin Samuels was very much like that. He was young, black, maybe a bit older, but influential, and women, especially black women, hated that. They hated it with a passion. They could not stand the fact that he asked black men to stand on their own 2 feet and be leaders in their families. They could not stand it. But at the end of the day, the more he talked, the more women listened. And the more women listened, the more they understood his message. And with that, such a shame that as he was starting to reach his most ardent critics, before he died, he was just about to reach him, but unfortunately he passed away now through natural causes or not, I do not know. But he was a man who very much that Andrew Tate is taken after. And again, another brown, good-looking, tall, conservative, and proud-speaking individual asking men to be better men. And the establishment doesn't like that. They don't like men who go against the grain. They don't like men who speak to different views that, which speaks to their masculinity, and they don't like men who live by their own rules. They don't like that. They want docile, head nodding, easy to influence individuals who will hate that they do not know. And it's like I always say, Kevin Samuels walked so that Andrew Tate could run. There are two men who have been persecuted over the last few years, not so much in the media, not so much as much as each other, but persecuted all the same. Both victims of wrap-up smears, but at the end of the day, they're starting to come out of it. They're starting to reach an audience. They're starting to gain more influence. It's just so sad that one could not take his message to the nth degree, yet another lives on through him. Let's continue.
Dismissed. Rob just pulled this up. As of March 3rd, the charges against Andrew Tate have not been dismissed. In December 2024, Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. However, investigations into allegations of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group are ongoing.
Correct.
Is it still that? Is
correct.
that still
correct? So let me clarify. Correct. Absolutely. December 2024, my case was dismissed. The Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. That sounds like, procedural errors, no big deal. What if procedural errors are false translations? What if procedural errors are illegal wiretaps? What if procedural errors are not respecting my client attorney privilege? What if they spied on me when I was talking to my lawyer? What if they broke every single law in the Romanian constitution, which is what they did? Then they returned it to the prosecutor and said, do it all again. So here it says, It's still ongoing. Yeah, it was dismissed because the whole case is garbage, just as I described. They sent it back to the prosecutor and said, we'll keep him locked up. We'll keep him here. Here's 2 more years. Try again. Is that justice? I'm asking a genuine question. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm living in the middle of it. As professional men, do you see that as justice? I beat my case. They lied and cheated the whole way through. They sent it back. And then they get to say, oh, it's still ongoing because the case is open because we're going to do it again. Is that allowed?
So Romania is expecting you to be back by March 23rd.
Correct.
That's what because of this.
No.
And did they allow you to leave purely for what's the reason why they allow you to come to the States?
They allowed me to come to the States because in December my case was dismissed. In 99.9% of Romanian cases, that means the end of bail conditions.
Okay.
With me, they kept the bail conditions. They kept them for December. They kept them for January. They tried to keep them for February. And my lawyers made submissions to court, and we went in front of a judge, and we complained that this is unfair. And a judge said, okay, let him fly as long as he comes back once a month. And I said, I'll respect the Romanian judicial system because I'm not running from anything, and I'm going to go back. Guys, anyone who's concerned about me running doesn't understand me. We got a direct order from the commander-in-chief. It was 3 words long. And it was fight, fight, fight. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going back to Romania. They may arrest me. They may put me back in jail. I don't know what they're going to do. But I'm going to go back. I'm not running from any of this. I've never run from any of this. My bail conditions were lifted. I've been in Romania for a very long time. I felt like a holiday. I thought Ron was a good governor. I chose Florida. Turns out it's communist like the rest. But I'm here for a while. It's not. There's no huge conspiracy. There's no Trump pressure. There's none of these things. 3 years I gave the Romanian government. 3 years. And eventually they said, okay, you can go to your home country. They should have let me come here a long time ago. I should have been able to come here the whole time. The whole process, I should have been able to come here. I've never been convicted. Why wasn't I free to travel the whole last 3 years? That's the actual question Ron should be asking. Ron should stand up there, or anyone with a brain should stand up and say, okay, well, he's never been convicted. And the case keeps getting thrown out due to lack of evidence or falsified evidence and illegal evidence. Why couldn't he travel all this time? Why was he even stuck in Romania? Why did they even take my cars? Let's be professionals and ask pertinent questions here. Why did they steal my money? Why did they put me in jail? Why did they take all my cars? Why did they take my house? Why did they stop me seeing 2 of my children? Why couldn't I see my mother when she had a heart attack? Why couldn't I go to my grandmother's funeral? Why was my image slandered? Why was I locked in my house for 1.5 years and I couldn't even leave the living room? Why was I there if there was not even enough evidence to ever go to trial ever?
Because they wanted to silence you, Andrew. That's why. They wanted your silence. You're becoming too influential. Feminists wanted you eliminated, silenced, convicted, prosecuted, vilified, slandered, smeared. Wrap up smeared, in a way. They wanted you out of the picture, Andrew Tate. And so they charged the Romanian judicial system to do such bidding, to lock you up, to silence you, to try to put you out of commission. The only problem was Andrew had enough money to fight said cases, because if he didn't, believe me, he'd still be in a Romanian jail right now. It's sort of the O.J. rule. Remember O.J. Simpson back in the day? Yes, you may or not believe he was a convicted criminal, but the fact of the matter is he had enough money to fight a case against him and allowed him to go free through the great defense work of one Johnny Cochran et al. But that's exactly what's happening to Andrew Tate today. They want him silenced. They want him out of commission. So they charge the Romanian judicial system to do so. However, he had enough money to fight it to a point where he's now allowed to come to the States and they can do nothing about it. And maybe now in a more conservative age, his voice can be greater heard because, well, woke society and the woke environment went too far and it had to be taken down a peg to a point where now the villain, once considered the villain, can now be considered the hero. Potentially. Let's continue.
Isn't that a better question than why am I in America? To me, it seems to be. See, that's the question I would ask. Why have I even gone through any of this? We can go deep down the rabbit hole, but I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd I have to report to the Romanians. But I'll tell you this, Soros and the European Union, which has become communist, have massive influence over there. And you have a huge power struggle between the American state and the Soros state. And there's two teams, and one of the teams wants me in jail for life. That's why I was dealing with all this.
So, but was there any help from Trump's camp to help you get here? Was there any influence there?
I have no idea.
Okay, so you don't know. Okay.
I mean, I would like to think from a positive perspective. I'd like to be optimistic and believe that Donald Trump saw this garbage and maybe asked some questions. I like that idea, but I don't know. Right. I had no confirmation. Right. I have no idea. I don't know why. However, as a professional, which I am, I would argue if Kamala won, I'd be in jail. Mm-hmm. But so would Trump. And so would everyone else.
And so would a lot of conservative red pill outlets. Remember the study by the Department of Homeland Security under Biden, diverting hate. A lot of red pill commentators, such as Andrew Tate, such as a Fresh and Fit, such as many others, we're all going to be covered under the same draft. Such as MTR, such as Poor Man's Podcast. All these people were going to go down. They're going to be shadow banned, and they were going to suffer heavily if Kamala Harris was allowed to become president. Believe me, Donald Trump, I may not agree with a lot of what he has to say, but in certain things I do agree with him. Another thing that he had put an end to was the actual initiative by the Department of Homeland Security put forward by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden that was diverting hate. They wanted the elimination of male spaces speaking to themselves and improving themselves. They wanted the end to that. Feminist platforms could be allowed to thrive like Call Her Daddy, which is an absolute shite show, but then they get millions of viewers who are women, quite simply, who are allowed to live out male fantasies. But the likes of Andrew Tate, the likes of Fresh and Fit, the likes of whatever podcast, the likes of MTR, the likes of Rollo Tomasi, the likes of all these different podcasters, all these different red pill platforms, we're going to suffer with the likes of Kamala Harris coming into office, the likes of Poor Man's Podcast, the likes of a Racco TV, et al. Not so much traditional conservative platforms such as a Daily Wire and such, but the likes of a man as is featured here tonight. That is Andrew Tate. Let's continue.
You.
There's no question.
So would you, and so would you. Yeah. So Trump won, and perhaps the Romanians said,
even this PBD podcast, I'm sure they would have seen it in their heart to try to shut them down as well. Let's continue.
Oh, the boss is back. We can't do this anymore. That's possible. Did Trump fly to Romania with an AK? I doubt it. But things change. There's a new administration. All the Americans are being released. Why is no one complaining about the Americans that got released from Venezuela? No one's complaining about the Americans that got released from Russia. Americans are being released all around the world because we finally have a real president again. And I seem to be one of them. The Romanian states thought and said, the boss is back. We probably can't continue to fuck with this guy for no reason. We don't even have a case. As it stands right now, guess how many indictments are in court against me? 0. Not one. Not one.
Well, let me ask this one here. With this situation here, that you're in the States, can UK, because UK and US have an extradition, they have a law that I think came about, Rob, if you can pull it up, I think it's 03 or 07 or something like that. Can UK say now he's in the States, can UK and US's relationship with each other do anything to you? Is that a risk of yours? Is that a concern of yours or not at all?
I'm tall, brown, rich, and sexy, so I have a strong suspicion that's one of the reasons the UK hates me so much. Because the UK is now a fallen nation. It's a completely communist country. You can't speak out. Isn't it interesting that not too long ago, America would talk about going to war and killing people for the idea of democracy and freedom. And now our allies like the United Kingdom, will lock people up for tweets. Or even worse, Trump and Vance will put Zelensky in his place, which needed to be done, and then our allies will invite him over the next day and hug him and shake hands and promise him money.
How do you feel about that?
What I feel like is that they're not even our allies anymore. That's snakery. You insult, if my brother puts you in your place and I come up behind his back and offer you money, am I my brother's brother? Is that how it works?
No. Nope.
So now we're talking about the UK government. We can go long and deep into the state of the United Kingdom because every single person I know with money is leaving. Why does the UK want to lock me up? Because I'm seen as a symbol of resistance against their communism. That's why they hate me. They hate me because I teach young men to think for themselves. That's why they hate me. Because the UK's fallen due to a lack of masculinity, which is what I promote. That's why
They all hate you because of that. Every country hates you because of that. Any Western society hates you because of that, Andrew. Let that be said. Let's go.
hate me. Are they going to try and get me? Probably. If I go to UK, will I ever get out? Probably not. Am I afraid of them? No. Because I don't operate from a realm of fear. We had a 3-word instruction from the commander-in-chief. So if I have to go to the UK and fight them, I'm going to do that too. Until then, I'm on the PBD podcast. I don't know what they're going to try and do. All I know is I don't trust them. And I don't think any American who understands how the world's currently operating trusts the UK government with anything. Do you? Would you trust yourself to have a fair trial in a British court?
In UK?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So it's a setup.
No.
It's an absolute setup. Why did the UK even come for me? Once again, I have to be careful what I say because on the 23rd of March, I'm going to be walking into the jaws of a tiger. But I can tell you this. The UK Foreign Office was heavily involved in my entire persecution in Romania. From the first day. They didn't get involved later. From the beginning, before it even happened, the UK Foreign Office was saying, this man is a problem. We're talking about him in Parliament. He's a big problem in our schools. He's a big problem on the internet. He's a problem. Can't you take him off the internet? Can't you make him go away? That was the UK Foreign Office. When I got released from Romanian jail, then I got released from house arrest, all of a sudden, Britain trumps up charges from 2009. Supposedly in 2009, I attacked some girl. And I was arrested again for 24 hours. I don't know if you guys remember. And I sat there for 24 hours. I was like, okay, wait. Who? When? Can't tell you that. So you're saying in 2009 I attacked a girl? Yes. Who? Doesn't say. When? Doesn't say. Where? Doesn't say. Just says 2009 you attacked a girl. By coincidence, Tristan also, 2009 attacked a girl. Where? When? Who? Don't know. 2009, you both attacked girls. No details. We made it up. Extradite. Thank God the Romanian state said, no, this is not even evidence. You can't extradite with this. This is nothing. It doesn't mean anything. So the UK state start trying to get us when Romania started to fail. UK's lost its mind. UK will look at the violence against women and then start saying my name. Oh, this is because of misogyny. Andrew Tate did this. No, what did this is a lack of a border, unchecked migration, thousands of people coming over from the third world each day on dinghies who have no jobs and loiter around in the streets. That's why women are not safe in London anymore. Nothing to do with me. They know it's nothing to do with me. I'm their fall guy. I'm their fall guy for everything. As soon as anything goes wrong, they mention my name in the UK. I don't stand a chance in their courts.
And they've gone to such an extent that they've actually had a movie. There's a bit of propaganda out on Andrew Tate. I think there's a movie on I think it was Disney Plus. Disney Plus. Yeah, movie. Andrew Tate. I believe. Oh, where is it? Lost on. No. British film. I am Andrew Tate. No. It's not that. Andrew Tate. Disney Plus movie. Andrew Tate. UK. UK Disney Plus movie. I think it's Disney Plus or. Just give me 1 second here. Disney Plus movie, Andrew Tate. Let me see. Ooh, wait a minute. Or is it Prime? Maybe Prime Video. Let me see. What is it? No. Netflix. It was Netflix. Netflix. Netflix movie. Andrew Tate. Yes. There we go. Yes. Where am I here? Anyways, I cannot think of the movie right now, but there's a movie on Netflix. I forget the name, but let's see who's in that movie. Oh yes, the one with Ashley Walters. Yes, Ashley Walters Netflix. Miniseries. Not a movie, miniseries, yes. Now I remember. There we go. Adolescence. There we go. Yes. Adolescence is the name. And this movie speaks on, I know it speaks on adolescence, Andrew Tate. Adolescence. There it is. Yes, exactly. Okay. Was there a plot release date? Here we go. Plots. Here we go. Just doing a little diversion here. Yes, indeed. Let's see. Here we go. What would you do if your teenage son was accused of murder? 4-part series starring Stephen Graham, and each episode is filled with unflinching no, we're not talking about that. Get out of there. Yes, the gripping story unfolds in real life as main characters from Central Family to detectives investigating crime. Hold on. One of our aims is what has happened to young men these days, what are the pressures they face from peers, from the internet, and from social media, and the pressures that come from all those things that are difficult for kids there we go. Let me see. What is adolescence about? Here we go. Adolescence is the story of a family whose world is turned upside down by 13-year-old Jamie Miller is arrested for the murders of a teenage girl who goes to the school. So we could have made this about grams. Hold on. Kevin West. No. We don't want that. Cast behind. Who's behind adolescence? We got that. But adolescence speaks to a lot about the red pill and their influence on children, in which Andrew Tate is seen as a side character, and not exactly the basis of the film in and of itself, but also one of its influences, to be fair and frank. And I don't know how his feelings are on this subject, but from what I've seen for the previews, I want to have a look at the miniseries in and of itself. It looks like it is indeed a shot against the red pill and the likes of an Andrew Tate in the modern world. And quite simply, it's a riveting look. Now, again, this could be allegation, but I would like to look at it even further, because from what I see from the previews, it is indeed a veiled shot against the red pill and the likes of Andrew Tate. Let's continue.
Am I afraid of them? No, because I don't operate from a realm of fear. I need people at home. You know what? This whole circumstance has truly damaged my faith in humanity. COVID did the same. Before COVID, I really thought people were better than that. But when I log onto Twitter and someone's like, Andrew Tate's accused of, I can accuse a ham fucking sandwich. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything what you're accused of. It matters what you're found guilty of. And then you have to argue about the legitimacy of the court. Because there's people in America who are getting wrecked by courts. That's America. Imagine, please, is there any better sign of my innocence than the fact I won fair and square in a Romanian court under the Biden admin? Is that not the best possible badge I can wear? When Biden was president in a Romanian court, I beat my case. And they'll still sit there and go, oh, but he's guilty. Did I say some stupid things on the internet 12 years ago? Yes. But I also said I'm an astronaut. And guess what? Elon's not calling. So it doesn't matter. It's not, you need a victim. You need proof. You can't say he said one stupid thing on the internet 12 years ago. Anyone who believes that's a criminal case is a dumbass. So here we are. You talk about Great Britain, they're after me. Romania's still after me. Ron DeSantis is after me. Aliens are probably after me. I don't know what to do. I'm just a man. But, you know, we're tall, brown, rich, and sexy. We're doing our best.
How did it feel when you landed? You haven't been here for 6 years. What was that feeling like when you guys landed in the state? You were born here in D.C. What did that feel like?
You know, it's amazing because we were supposed to have Wi-Fi on our jet. No one knew we were leaving. We get in the air, the Wi-Fi doesn't work, of course. So we had no idea about the fanfare. So we landed, and Tristan's phone starts working. And then he says, wow, it seems people are very interested. It seems like this is a big, big, big story. I didn't expect it to be this big. I said, yeah, it is a big story. I'm kind of surprised as well. I didn't think anybody would even really care that much. And Tristan said to me, he goes, better this than nobody caring at all. And this is a very interesting point that my haters don't understand. Because I get so many of these conservative dorks, and they are dorks, these nerds. Andrew Tate's a bad guy, blah, 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 blah. Crying about me all of the time is the reason my brand is so big. It takes hot and cold air to make a tornado. And there's nothing more feminine than sitting there as a conservative influencer. I'm a conservative influencer, and he's so dangerous, and he's so bad, he's so scary. You sound like a girl. You sound like a girl. It's gay. It's gay.
It is gay. It is gay. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's gay. Well, maybe there's something wrong with that. Let's continue.
They make me sound like a mafia boss all the time, which is why young men go, well, do I want to be like the big boss who everyone talks about? Or do I want to be like this dude who talks about being afraid on his Twitter? My haters can't stop mentioning me. I didn't tweet for all that time because I didn't need to. The whole Twitter was me. I don't need to tweet. I just need to breathe and they talk about me. So they give me so much unlimited energy. If my haters had a brain, they'd stop talking about me, but they can't. They can't. So when I land and all these haters and senators and Ron and everyone's having a mental breakdown, I kind of just sit in the middle of it like, well, I mean, I guess I'm the main character, I guess. I mean, what am I supposed to do with it all? But you're asking how I feel. It's kind of interesting because it was such a whirlwind, and it's still such a whirlwind now, and I know I have to go back in a few weeks. No feelings have really come to light as of yet. I don't feel any. No, I don't feel relieved.
Reminisce, family, memories. You and Tristan by yourself. Hey, man, this is kind of cool. 6 years, nothing.
There is an element of that, but how do I say this without sounding psychotic? Let me try and not to sound crazy because my haters have enough ammo. Let me try not to sound psychotic. Part of me will be disappointed if I don't go to Romanian jail. And I know this sounds nuts. Maybe this is a coping mechanism. I don't know. We can all talk psychology. When you're a man and every single government in the world is after you, maybe you cope by thinking, well, if they do win, I'll get a cool story. Maybe that's coping. I'm being honest now. We can talk to Dr. Phil. Call Dr. Phil. I don't know. But I was so certain that we were cooked. I was like, no one beats these people. You can't beat this. It's a fucking setup. And they're going to rig the next election like they rigged 2020, and they're going to set us up, and we're done. We're toast. I was so certain I was cooked. I kind of, in my mind, was like, oh, I'm cooked. And now I'm not cooked. I'm like, well, I don't deserve to be cooked, which is good. But it's a very strange feeling. I just hadn't prepared for it. I don't know what else to say. It's really weird. It's really weird. But I was disappointed by my welcome. I'm not going to lie. But I'm going to train Ron. We're going to be okay.
Tate, we've interviewed you a few times, but you sound angrier than ever. Is that your resounding emotion right now?
You know, I said this on the plane to Tristan, and I said that him and I, truthfully, if I think and if I analyze, one of the reasons why our haters hate us so much, and it must be very frustrating to dislike us, because in the end, we always just seem to win. It must be very frustrating to hate us, and then no matter what happens, no matter how many times they think we've got this guy banged to rights, look, 4 criminal cases in Romania, 2 criminal cases in England. He can't fly. He's done. Here's an old video he's explained 1,000 times. Let's retweet that. Look, we've got him. He's toast. No one will talk to him. The governor hates him. And then I'm on a jet. Boom, bang, ha. PPD, woo. They must hate me. I get it, right? And then you can talk about, you know, if this is the universe, if this is your own hard work, if you're divinely protected, if it's fate, all of these things. But for some reason, I seem to be very competent and very lucky. And when you're both of those things, vengeance crosses your mind quite often because you know that you can. It's easy to be vengeful because you know if you talk, you can easily get retribution against the people who have wronged you. But I don't want to be a vengeful person, and I don't want to go out on a path of vengeance. However, I do think that justice and balance are important in the universe. I do think the moral arc of the universe should bend towards justice. I do think the people who have lied, I do think the people who have done wrong things, I do think the people who have decided to destroy my life should face justice. I don't think that's vengeance. I think that's balance. So for that reason, you say it's anger, I would call it potential energy, which is stored, which will be directed towards justice. I'm not looking for vengeance. I'm not looking for revenge. All I want is the world to be fair. Don't we all want the world to be fair? I expect a fair trial, and I expect my enemies to have a fair trial. Unlike my enemies, who are praying I do not have a fair trial, I don't want that. I want my enemies to have a fair trial, just as I will, because I know I will walk and they will not.
Tate, let me ask you this. By the way, if you're
And we're going to end it right there, ladies and gentlemen, because, again, he's going to get into a few other things, but we're gonna finish that on part 2 of the show. Shout out to the PVD podcast, the Paul Bate David podcast. A wonderful, wonderful take. This is the 3rd interview they've had, full-length interview they've had with Andrew Tate. And, it's always riveting viewing. And they've already received how many views on this? Please like and subscribe. 2 million views in 2 days. Do you believe it? I believe it. 2 million views in 2 days. It may not be Cat Williams, but it is something, quite simply. Something substantial. So shout out to PVD Podcast. Shout out to Valuetainment for such a wonderful interview. But we're not done with it yet. We're going to go into part 2 tomorrow night. Yes, indeed, tomorrow night we're going into part 2 of Andrew Tate. And we still have to talk about his Muslim faith, about Christianity, about the war in the Middle East, the war in the Ukraine. Also, we're going to talk about life as we see it. Oh, there's other things. Hold on, let me just get back into it. Let me just get back into this quickly. Yes. I still have to talk about the Epstein files as well. Still have to talk about Trump and his views on the justice system and on his tariff border friends. And it's a lot of things he goes into. And listen, Andrew Tate is just a fountain of knowledge, and I think one of the smartest men in the world, quite simply, especially when put under the political gaze. And, back to the full cam, that is me. First of all, sorry, and I do apologize to all those who are viewing on YouTube. I made a little boo-boo regarding, I forgot to pan out and show you what the thing was, but you did get to hear it. But we will have this. That was only the soft shoe. This was the apéritif, as the French would say, the starter before the main course. The main course is coming, and which he talked about Muslims. He talked about Epstein. He talks about all things political today, and that will be coming up tomorrow night on part 2 of Andrew Tate in the USA, ladies and gentlemen. So do stick around for that. We're going to end it right here, right now. I'm going to get to the gym, get a little workout, and then get to bed. Back to work tomorrow. So thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live on IG, YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We're going to get it on in tomorrow night. Andrew Tate in the USA, part 2. As we explained, as Andrew Tate has different takes on the world in which we live. And it's great to see because, hey, Andrew Tate is a free man and he's in the USA. So, shout out to Andrew Tate for such wonderful, wonderful broadcasting. Shout out to PVD Podcast. Do like and subscribe to PVD Podcast, doing wonderful things in YouTube streets. And, we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night, 9 p.m. I'm going to leave it where it is. We're going to continue on with things. We may even have a part 3 if we don't get everything done tomorrow night. But do look out for that. Do look out for the promos tomorrow. And, we look forward to speaking to you then. So, good night, and we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna say good night to us on YouTube. We're gonna say good night to us on IG. And thank you very much for joining me in my my training kit for Arsenal. Yes, indeed, big win this week, and looks like we're going to the quarterfinals, which are bigger fish to fry, quite simply, with the likes of Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, 2 very, very venerable European sides. Thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow night right here on IG and YouTube, as we say good night from Toronto on IG. And thank you very much for joining me on Talk Live on YouTube. Sorry for the discrepancy right there, but we are going to straighten that out and make sure that everything is straight for tomorrow night. And looking forward to your attendance then. Great show, and looking forward to tomorrow night with Andrew Tate Back in the USA, Part 2, tomorrow night on IG.